Hello. I don't actually know if anybody's gonna join this, but that's a-okay because they're missing out. Okay. Okay. What are we talking about today? Instagram makes me feel so bad about myself. Hang out, hang on. We're telling more followers to join your video. It's okay if nobody joins, because this is up for like 24 hours or whatever. Okay. So, hello. My name is Barbieshaye, and welcome to the sex ed that you never got, which is pretty rad. Well, it's sad that you never got this sex ed, because it should be very, this is backwards, isn't it? It should be very self-explanatory. It should be very easy to go about. I mean, look at this. This is really unnecessary stuff at this point. Okay, starting with the most important thing. When you want to have sex with someone, you need consent. And you're like, okay, duh, Barbieshaye, you need consent, okay. Like, consent is so easy, you just say yes, or you just listen when someone says no. It's not that easy, because consent can be given in situations where it doesn't actually apply. An example of this is when someone is drunk, inebriated is a more fancy word for that, or when someone is coerced or threatened. When someone is obviously not ready, but you're, ooh, is this on? There we go. When someone is obviously not into what's going on, but they don't feel safe saying no. So that could be like a power difference, like a teacher-student kind of thing, or even just like an upperclassman, lowerclassman kind of thing. And there's just so many combinations of what can happen. Just there's miscommunications, and so there's different levels to consent, and a good way to remember it is to be sure. The SU stands for shared understanding, so that means both of you know what's going to happen. That means you're like, okay, you're gonna give me oral, and they're like, I got you. But if it turns into more than that, you have to ask for consent again. You have to make sure that they're okay with past that, because if they say yeah to that, that doesn't mean they're saying yeah to everything. And maybe some people oral involves something that it doesn't involve for other people, so you got to be clear about that. The R stands for respect. Very easy. When someone says no, you're like, okay. When someone needs to know something, or when you need to know something about each other, or some people are like, what's your mom's name? What's your last name? Or like, you know, they just need to know stuff, but to feel more comfortable. Like, give them that. It's not a big deal. It makes them feel comfortable, and it'll make the experience, first of all, happen if that's what you both want, but that's the only hindrance. Second of all, be good for both of you. Or more than both of you, if that's what you're into, which is totally rad. And then the E stands for enthusiastic. So this is where a lot of consent is lost, or a lot of consent is miscommunicated. Because there's a difference between saying, do you want to have sex with me? Like, yeah, I guess. And the difference between, like, do you want to have sex with me? Heck yeah. You know what I mean? That wasn't super and more enthusiastic. Like, heck yeah, I want to have sex with you. Woo! That is also super necessary, because if people don't seem like they're into it, but they're saying yes, they might feel obligated or forced. And if you're not trying to force them, which makes you a decent human being, that's a warning signal of, hey, maybe this isn't good to happen right now. Maybe this shouldn't be happening right now. Maybe this other person or persons are not ready. And that's okay. So that's consent. So that's the first thing always. Now, going back to high school. Who's in high school anymore? Abstinence, sure, go for it. You know what? I mean, I know a lot of people who have been able to be abstinent, and it's worked out for them. It worked out for me, pretty good. But most people it does not work for, and it's not the only way to deal with safe sex, because safe sex is not having sex at all. So that makes no sense. And schools are really doing you a disservice and an injustice, those are the words I was thinking of, by not giving you proper information about everything else. So the protection I most recommend is birth control for people who don't want to get pregnant, and that comes in many different ways. It comes in, you can use a condom, duh. I'm not gonna say duh about anything else, because I really don't know what anyone knows after this point of abstinence doesn't actually work. You can use a condom, you can use the pill, you can use an IUD, which is like an implant in the vagina. You can use a patch, a ring, and the implant, and I recommend the implant the most because you get it put in your arm, like right here. Oh, I'm actually feeling my own right now. And it lasts for 3 years, and it works like a charm. Only thing is it kind of messes up your like period system, so you got to work with your doctor about that. But it's extremely effective, whereas condoms are probably on the least effective end of birth control. But they are very effective. Well, they're the most effective besides abstinence when it comes to preventing STDs, which STDs are on the rise in America. Terrifying. 50% of all young people, like 18 to 25-year-olds, have an STD. That means if you're in a classroom with all your senior friends, half of them have STDs right now, or will, like between that age, and that's terrifying. 1/4 of all college freshmen get an STD within the year, which is like, first of all, my personal opinion is, why are you so stupid? But I'm not going to judge you, because of course not everybody's had the same access to like sex education that I have, and most of it I looked up on my own, and some of it I've been taught since I've got to college, most of it, and it's been amazing. But condoms work better than nothing at all. Condoms are lifeblood. Amazing. Always use condoms. Always. I just like, condoms are amazing. They're not like perfect. They don't work 100%, but like they're good. And here's some little, what do you call it? Not disclaimers, but like myths about condoms, I guess. Condoms, you can barely feel the difference. They make ultra thin condoms. This is an ultra thin condom. Like, this, between this and like giving or getting an STD, feeling someone's anus or vagina or mouth is not worth it, okay? Like, you know what I mean? Because some people with penises are like, oh, but it restricts me, like, can't feel as good. Well, do you want to feel good, or do you want to live? Like, second thing is, some people say that Lifestyles condoms specifically, sometimes people say Trojans, I think Trojans, yeah. People say that some condoms work better than others, or some condoms work terribly. This is not true. Every condom is tested by the FDA before it's put on the market, which is pretty intense, actually. So every condom you use is guaranteed to work about 99% of the time. So there's not really a better or worse condom. It's literally just about branding at that point. Like, everybody knows Trojans. I had never heard of Lifestyles before I came to New York. So that's more of a regional thing, I guess. I just had never heard of them. Though I can't really say I was well versed in the condom culture. Good thing to do is masturbate with condoms. If you have a penis, this will get you used to the feeling, because this is the difference between, like, gonorrhea and, like, health, or HIV and health, you know? It's really not that hard to put one on, and I know it may feel weird, but I can't say I've really experienced a lot of people actually saying it feels weird, so if it feels weird to you, I want to masturbate with them on. And another thing, this is more of a fun fact. 2 condoms, if you put on 2 condoms at one time, that's actually more beneficial. You will be, like, less likely to transmit STDs and get someone pregnant, which sounds ridiculous because you've always been taught that, like, if you put on 2 condoms at once, the friction will break them, but that is not true. Fun to know. Okay, I'm gonna open up a condom. I don't really have any thing to put it on. Oh, it's not like I have a fake penis around here or anything. Here's the gal. This is a nail polish remover bottle. It's kind of like a penis. It's not. Okay, the first thing you do when you want to open a condom is consent. You ask the person if they definitely want what's about to go down. If they say yes, then continue. Next thing you do is you look for an expiration date. This expires in 2020 in February. Next thing you do is you pinch the side and you press for an air bubble. If you don't feel an air bubble, that means the package has been opened in some way. There might be a hole in the condom. You know, have you seen those memes of, like, people poking holes in the middle of a condom, like on a bulletin board? Yeah, that could have happened to this. But see, there's an air bubble in this one. So then you're like, oh snap, it's about to go down. And then you push it to one side, so it's all the way on this side. You kind of see the shadow. And then you rip it open. And then voila, you have a condom. And so there should be a little hat. We call it the hat in the intelligent sex community. And the hat needs to go up on the side that's the most slippery, because it's supposed to roll down nice and easy. What you're supposed to do is, once you find the hat top, you pinch it, you place it on top of the penis. Thank you, nail polish bottle, for being the fake penis for me. And you roll it down with at least 2 fingers. This is a weird shape, so it might not go down very far. But make sure you keep your hand on the thing, on the hat. Okay, I'm just gonna pretend this is all the way down, but it's not, obviously. And so when you pull it off, there should be no air in this. If it's, like, inflated, then you've done it wrong and you have to do it again. You want to make sure there's no air in here, so when the semen goes into it, it doesn't pop the whole condom, which would really suck, because then the semen would get everywhere, and who knows what will happen after that. But yes, so that's how that works. Let's see how far I can get this down now that it's... Oh, geez. Oh, all the way. There it is. Condoms smell weird. Yes, so there's that. Pretty cool. That's how you put a condom on. Very easy. And when you want to take a condom off, when there's semen in it, or a nut, as the kids call it these days, you just literally, I mean, you don't just turn the penis upside down, but you kind of just roll it off and pinch this part. And you have it, and the stuff's in there. Wrap it around your finger, tie it, and throw it away. Very easy. Do not flush these if you can help it, because that's how we have to pay more taxes for our systems. So that's how you do that. But Barbieshaye, you say, what if I don't have a penis, but I still want to engage in some sort of sex? Well, there's 2 ways you can go about that. And you can also use these if you do have a penis. This, I'm not going to open this because this is my only one, is an oral dam or a dental dam. Basically looks like this, but like a latex sheet. You put it over either the vagina or the the anus. Why did I say the rectum? The anus. And it's often flavored. I've heard it tastes good, I've heard it tastes bad. Up to you. And it basically covers the vagina or anus. And the thing about that is you're like, well, there's no like semen or anything, so like why should I be worried about anything? Well, STDs can still be transmitted from genitals to mouth, like herpes can do that, and a few others, and that sucks. So just, these are not super hard to come by. If you don't go to a college, I'd suggest you probably have to find them on the internet. In an ideal world, this is a project I'm trying to work on. So go to my website and donate. I'm trying to be able to, because my school gives it away for free, so I'm going to try and hoard these sex supplies and then send them to people discreetly. So like if you're, you know, on the upper end of high school, or like you just can't afford stuff, you know, I will send this stuff to you, and the money that is donated to me just goes to basically shipping, or like stamp buying, and then they'll be packaged discreetly so then you can get them and be safe. Because if it's free for me, it should be free for everybody, really. But yeah, you can use that. There's also these things called finger cots for fingering. Don't know if you could have guessed that. But they basically look like a condom, except they're the size of your finger. It's basically, just imagine this was made from my finger and not my penis. I do not have a penis, I just want to make that clear. See, there we go. See, it looks like this. You can use it for fingering, because you can also get, I can't remember which one it is, but you can get an STD through like touch contact, which is terrifying. Obviously some of this sounds really stupid, like why would I put a condom on my finger just to finger somebody, or like why would I put a sheet of latex over somebody if I just want to eat them out? Like, that's ridiculous. Well, the way you can get around doing all that is if you test yourself regularly and you're with either people who test themselves regularly as well and have nothing and can show you that they have nothing, or you're with a steady partner and you're monogamous, or if it's more than one partner, you're all monogamous together and you've all been tested. Because if you're all monogamous together, and you've been tested and you've got nothing, then there's nothing to give. And if all of your partners otherwise have been tested and they've got nothing, then they've got nothing to give and you've got nothing to give. So you don't have to use these things. But when you need to use these things is when you're at a party, you meet someone, and you want to do stuff. There's no time to be like, hey, can you print out your like HIV test sheet? Like, that's ridiculous. And like, we can't just ask the world to just have their papers on them, you know? Or like, you know, when you're on a first date with somebody and you didn't expect it to happen, but it happens, and that's okay. Good for you, honestly. But you just keep a condom in your pocket. Wallet isn't preferred, but it works. It's just the heat and the friction can get to it. Ew, look, little bubble. I'm gonna pop it. Oh. And I really just want to see how big I can make this condom. Just fidgeting with a whole condom. Okay, and another important thing that people don't talk about in sex ed is lubricant. Now, there's a few different types of lubricant, but my personal favorite is silicone lubricant, or silicone? Silicone is Silicon Valley. Silicone lube. This is the ideal human. This is the peak of human existence. I can't remember the meme, but this is the ideal human form. But water-based lube, some people like it, but TBH, since it's water-based, it evaporates with all the heat. And you just have to keep reapplying it, which really stinks if you're like in the heat of the moment. I have this whole pamphlet about just like good lube to use. And so the best lube to use is silicone because it does not dry out as fast. But also one thing you have to be careful of is sugar content in your lube. Yeah, I know, weird, right? But here's a little chart of sugar contents in lubricants. And this is KY, which is the most popular lube on the market. Look at that. It goes all the way, it goes above the chart. Like they had to write over. And that's the one that's most popular. But this can be very dangerous because if you have a vagina, it can mess up your vaginal pH, which, if you know anything about your own vagina, which maybe you don't, that's very detrimental to it. It can hurt you, it can cause like yeast infections. It's just not fun. And if it's going in your anus, it can also mess up, I can't remember exactly what it does, but it messes up your anus in a way because there's no cleanser in anuses, like in your rectum. I don't know. I'm a little out. I'm forgetting all my words. Anyways, there's no like vaginas are self-cleansing in a way. Like they have fluid that can kind of get all the gunk out. Anuses and rectums don't have that, so it's super dangerous to put stuff in there that stays in there. Which is why you want to get less sugary lube, which in that Good Clean Love is good, and Liquid Organics, because all of these, because this is the colon lining, I guess that's the word I was looking for, colon, and this is vaginal mucus. Ew. No, I'm just kidding. Vaginal mucus is beautiful. And see these are two lubes that have less than that, and everything else has way more. Look at the difference. Use lubricant, especially if you're doing anal sex. Especially, spit does not work. Spit is not a substitute. Oil is not a substitute. It can break the condom. Actually, that might just be a myth. Hold on. I have a bunch of facts. Look at me. I don't know. Yeah. But please use lubricant. Even if you're using a vagina. If you or your partners have a vagina, still use lube. Still makes it have a fun time. I don't know what else to say for this time. Since I got no questions, thanks everybody. I think I'm gonna end it here, and I will pick it back up when I think of more stuff, or when I get more questions, because that would super help me, because I don't know what people do and don't know, and that doesn't help me when I'm trying to help you. But basically the TLDR of this event was, please use condoms, please use protection, please. Abstinence doesn't work. Works for some, doesn't work for all. Condoms are better than HIV. Condoms are better than gonorrhea. Condoms are better than pregnancy. Unwanted pregnancy. Use condoms. Okay. See ya. Oh, I guess I didn't end the